It was a quiet afternoon in the bustling city of Atlanta, where the sun filtered through the glass doors of a neighborhood grocery store. Marcus Johnson, a man in his late 50s with a salt and pepper beard and a life etched in every line on his face, stepped inside. He wore a simple gray shirt, jeans, and a black cap pulled low. No one would guess he was the CEO of the chain, a self-made entrepreneur who had built his empire from nothing. Marcus had started undercover visits years ago, a habit born from his own hard beginnings in the segregated South. Today, he wanted to see how his stores really ran, away from the polished reports. As he wandered the aisles, pretending to browse canned goods, a soft sound caught his ear. It came from near the checkout counters, where the automatic doors hummed open and closed. There, a young woman in her early 20s stood with a mop in hand, her dark hair tied back in a bun. She wore yellow gloves and a navy apron over her uniform, but her shoulders shook gently. Tears streamed down her face as she leaned against the counter, bucket at her feet. Her name tag read Lila. Marcus paused, his heart tugging at the sight. He had seen enough sorrow in his lifetime to know when someone carried a heavy load. He approached slowly, his steps measured on the tiled floor. "Excuse me, miss," he said in a deep, steady voice that carried the warmth of decades. "You all right? Looks like something's weighing on you." Lila wiped her eyes with the back of her glove, startled but not alarmed. She glanced up at him, her brown eyes red-rimmed. "I'm fine, sir. Just a rough day." Her voice trembled, but she forced a small smile, the kind that didn't reach her eyes. Marcus nodded, pulling a stool from behind the counter and sitting down a respectful distance away. He had learned patience in his youth, working odd jobs while dreaming of better days. "I've had my share of those. Name's Marcus. Mind if I sit a spell? Sometimes talking helps lighten the burden." She hesitated, then set the mop aside. The store was slow, with only a few customers milling about. "I'm Lila," she said softly. "I shouldn't be like this at work, but it's been building up." Marcus leaned forward slightly, his expression kind. "Take your time. No rush here." Lila took a deep breath, her hands twisting the hem of her apron. "It's my grandma. She's sick, real bad. Cancer. We don't have much money for treatments, and I've been working extra shifts here to help. But today, the manager yelled at me in front of everyone. Said I was slacking, even though I came in early. It just broke me." Marcus felt a familiar ache in his chest. He remembered his own mother, fighting illness in a time when hospitals turned away folks like them. "That's tough, Lila. Family's everything. My mama passed when I was about your age. Worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat, but the system wasn't kind back then." She looked at him, curiosity mixing with her sadness. "You sound like you've been through it. Where you from?" "Right here in Georgia," Marcus replied, his tone even and reassuring. "Grew up in the 60s, when things were different. Marches in the streets, folks fighting for a seat at the table. I saw my daddy come home exhausted from jobs that paid pennies, all because of the color of his skin. But he taught me resilience. Said, 'Son, the world may bend you, but don't let it break you.'" Lila's tears slowed as she listened. There was something comforting in his words, like a grandfather sharing stories by the fire. "My family's from Mexico originally, but we've been here generations. Grandma always talks about the old days, how she picked crops alongside black workers in the fields. They shared meals, watched each other's backs. She says we're all in this together, no matter the shade." Marcus smiled faintly, the lines around his eyes deepening. "Your grandma's wise. Back in my day, we had the civil rights movement lighting the way. Dr. King marching in Selma, folks linking arms across divides. I was just a boy, but I remember the songs, the hope. It wasn't easy, water hoses, dogs, jail cells, but it built something real. Human connection, like what your grandma knew in those fields." As they talked, the store's hum faded into the background. A customer passed by, nodding politely, but Marcus and Lila were in their own world. She opened up more, her voice gaining strength. "The truth is, it's worse than just the manager. Some customers give me looks, whisper things. 'Go back where you came from,' one said last week. It hurts, especially when I'm trying so hard. And with grandma fading, I feel alone." Marcus's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. He had faced those words himself, climbing the ladder in a world that often pushed back. "I know that sting, Lila. Built my first store with loans no bank wanted to give a black man. Heard the doubts, the slurs. But here's what I learned over the years, those voices aren't the truth. They're echoes of fear. The real power comes from lifting each other up. Like in the old spirituals we sang, we shall overcome. It's not just words, it's a promise. She nodded, wiping the last of her tears. Grandma sings those sometimes. Says they remind her of unity. He paused, letting the moment settle. The automatic doors slid open again, letting in a breeze that carried the scent of fresh rain. Marcus glanced around, ensuring no one overheard. Tell you what. I've got connections. Let me see if I can help with your grandma's care. No strings, just one person to another. Lila's eyes widened. Why would you do that? You don't even know me. Because I've been where you are, Marcus said gently. And because life taught me that acceptance starts small. Black, brown, white, we're all threads in the same fabric. Tier 1, and the whole thing phrase. Their conversation flowed on, weaving in stories from Marcus's past. He spoke of his first business venture, a corner shop in the 70s, where he hired folks from all walks. Hired a young Latino man named Raul once. Best employee I had. We shared lunches, talked dreams. He went on to start his own place. That's the cycle, pass it forward. Lila shared more about her life, her dreams of college stalled by bills. I want to study nursing, help people like Grandma. But it feels impossible. Nothing's impossible if you pace yourself, Marcus advised, his tone like a steady drum. I didn't build this chain overnight. Took years, failures, comebacks. Remember the 80s? Economy tanked, but I adapted. Learned from elders who survived worse. They said, keep your head high, your heart open. As the afternoon light shifted, casting long shadows across the floor, Marcus felt the time was right. He stood, adjusting his cap. Lila, there's something I should tell you. I'm not just a customer. I'm Marcus Johnson, the owner of this store, and the whole chain. Her mouth fell open in surprise. You. But you look so regular. He chuckled softly. That's the point. I come in like this to see the real picture. And today, I saw you. That manager. He'll be spoken to. No one treats my people that way. Tears returned to Lila's eyes, but these were different, grateful, hopeful. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. This means everything. He placed a hand on her shoulder briefly, a fatherly gesture. Call me Marcus. And remember, life's full of turns. Embrace the connections. Like those field workers your grandma knew, were the marchers I saw as a kid. We're stronger together. As Marcus walked out, the door sliding shut behind him, he felt a quiet peace. Another thread mended, another voice heard. Back in his office later, he arranged for Lila's grandma to get the care she needed, and promoted Lila to a better role. It was a small act, but in his experience, small acts built legacies. Years passed, and Lila often thought of that day. She became a nurse, helping others with the same gentleness Marcus had shown. And in quiet moments, she hummed the old songs, passing on the wisdom of unity and acceptance. Friends, if this story touched you, give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, subscribe to the Black Voices for more tales of heart and heritage, and drop a comment, Iski complete banadu. Let's keep the connections growing.